Sometimes the world looks perfect, nothing to rearrange. Sometimes you just get a feeling, need some kind of change. Standing tall on the wings of my dream, rise and fall on the wings of my dream. Rain and thunder, wind and haze, bound for better days. It's my life and my dream, nothing's gonna stop me now.
All right, welcome to TGIF, Tanner Grover Invites Friends. It is day number 15,510 of being me. And, it's not all peaches and cream, but today it is savory and sweet. We are talking with the proprietor of CMP, and I'm not talking about those guys that tell you not to touch power lines ever. I'm talking about Central Maine or Coastal Maine popcorn, the queen of kernels, popcorn mama herself, Julie Roberts. What's up, Julie?
Hello, Tanner. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm all right. What's
Good.
what's going on? What's new today?
Um, my goodness. Well, we are heading into summer. People are on the streets. I'm super excited to see people around and so we can start, you know, sharing the popcorn love in a big way again.
Well, you are very much what I consider, not just the queen of kernels, but a cheerleader for the Booth Bay region, and
Aw.
I appreciate you immensely. One thing I want to start off with, and I kind of do this with every guest on the show. Um, what, in your estimation, Julie, is our DOF that stands for date of friendship? And if you can't, put an exact time, timestamp on it, maybe even just an awareness of, who I was or what maybe your first impressions of me were.
Um, I first of all, I've known you forever since you were born. Um, I think my most fun and earliest recollection of you was on TV with Kim Block. And I thought, that's so cool. He's on TV with Kim Block. And then your intro to the show got me a little weepy. I might have like had to tap my eye a little bit because of all the fun things that all the memories that seeing all of that brought back. But I feel like we always knew each other, but it's only in the last few years that we really, really started to engage and see each other on the streets or in the summer by the pool or whatever. But I've always known you, Tanner. You're you're Tanner. You're like Booth Bay Harbor Tanner. You're like the town, one of the town mascots.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I just it wasn't intentional, I can tell you that.
Right.
Um, yeah, but I want to say, like, when was Julie Roberts first on my radar, and it probably was because of your daughter Jackie.
Yeah.
She played like basketball in
Mm-hmm.
junior high, and like,
Mm-hmm.
you get to kind of know like the players and then who their parents were, and I was running like the Lobster Jam
Yeah.
tournament,
Yeah.
and you were always such a big supporter of that. We run this tournament during the summertime. Bruce Orrin is doing it today. I ran it
Yeah.
from 2011 through 2016, and I would always hit you up, and I'd be like, "Hey, what if we do this Coastal Maine popcorn player of the game?" And you were so nice to, donate the popcorn for us, and then we would have the officials actually name the Coastal Maine popcorn player of the game, and we would give a player a bag of specialty popcorn. So I always
That's so
thought that was
cool.
so cool.
It's so
Yeah. So
fun. I feel like what we do here at Coastal Maine Popcorn gives us such a great opportunity to support our town. I think that's one of my favorite things about my job and having this business is the support that we can lend and give back to the town that has given so much to us, especially our kids at school. I think our school is one of our biggest assets. It's the future of our community, it's the heart of our community. And I can't think of a time, I hope, that I've ever said no that somebody reached out from the school and we, in some capacity, we can't always give money, but we can always give popcorn. So, and sometimes I feel like popcorn is just as good as money.
So let me ask you this. What's your relationship with popcorn? Like, where did this come from? Where did this idea stem from? I mean, how long have you been in business, right? And
So
like,
we,
what,
yeah, we've been in business since 2008. I'm 50, I'm currently 53 years old. The summers that I was 14, 15, and 16, there was a popcorn store in town called Beans Corner Corn Company. And it was I would say my very first summer job, but it was actually my second summer job. My first summer job was with Craig Andrews, and we got in a fight, and I quit, and we're friends now. But that's another really funny story. So I quit at Andrews Harborside, and I went and I had a friend, Kelly Carter, who was working at Beans Corner Corn Company, and she got me a job there. So I fell in love with flavored popcorn. And when I got out of hairdressing school after high school, I owned my own salon in town. And then I always wanted to just bring popcorn back to life in Boothbay Harbor. So in 2008, I asked my husband to meet me at the Thistle. I had a business proposition for him. So Paul and I met at the Thistle at the bar, where all of our sort of life happenings are discussed and solidified. And I told him about this little summer job I had, and his background was in business, and he thought it was a fun idea. And he put our business plan together. We went to the bank, we got some money, we started experimenting on how to make flavored popcorn in our kitchen. And here we are, 18 years later.
it's really just an incredible success story of Maine small business. I know that, not only do you have the store here in Booth Bay, but you've had other stores. And, I also, one thing I do every year, it's kind of like my go to gift. I go to a Box of Maine,
Mm-hmm.
and we have a partnership with them. And,
Yep,
I always make sure to include some coastal Maine popcorn in my Box of Maine gift boxes.
that's
Um,
awesome.
but yeah, I mean, tell me about that. Like just the outreach and the way you've been able to, expand and not just become, a Booth Bay product, but statewide and even beyond. How'd you do it?
I wish that you could see my knees under the desk to see how skinned up they are from all these years of falling down and getting back up. And owning your own business in Maine is not for the faint of heart. And we've done so much in the last 18 years. We thought the way we were going to be successful in business was to open other retail locations, and we've had 4 total: Boothbay Harbor, then Portland, then Freeport, then Rockland. And we thought, oh, Boothbay Harbor is busy, all of those others will be busy too. Well, they were never as busy as the Boothbay Harbor location, and we were not very good at all at spreading ourselves thin and being in more than one place at a time. So, but those, I wouldn't change it, I don't think, because those locations, especially Portland, gave us a lot of exposure that we wouldn't have had. We had exposure in Portland. We were there for 8 years, I think. And I don't really know. We never had the money to do a lot of advertising. I think I hope part of it is the integrity that we've had with our business and how we've always worked so hard to do the right thing and treat people how we want to be treated and have a really good product. And when we screw up, we apologize and try to make it right. Um, but mostly social media, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and word of mouth, I think, is sort of where where people find us and have seen us. So
Yeah, I mean, social media, starting in 2008, I want to say that that was really the boom of when Facebook, became a platform not just for college students, but for everybody. And you've got
mhm.
something like 15,000 followers on
Yep,
Facebook, which is
yep,
crazy.
yeah.
And you've really done a great job of, taking advantage of all that. And, you get a Hannaford, you can buy Wholesome Man popcorn. So it's really impressive, Julie. It's really cool. I
Thank
want
you.
to ask you about like the fun stuff. Okay, so you've
Mhm.
got like how how many flavors of popcorn do you have?
We have in the store at any one time we hang around 30 or 35. We probably have an arsenal of 65 or 70 that we've done, because we have obviously things seasonal. When comes around, we have Easter and springtime flavors, and then summer comes around, and like right now we're doing a red, white, and blue kettle corn for America's 250th anniversary. Then we head into fall and we bring out things like pumpkin cheesecake and caramel apple, and we head into Christmas and winter, and we have white chocolate cranberry and a black kettle corn that is like a lump of coal, and we have reindeer poop, and we have eggnog and peppermint bark. So it just really, it's so, what we do is so versatile and so customizable, and that's what makes it so fun. We can do custom labels, we do fundraising, we do special events, we do corporate gifting. Um, and I used to think that, that we had to pick one avenue, and, that we should be all retail or all wholesale or all fundraising. And then Kate from Bixby Bars up in Rockland, I was having a conversation with her once, and I said, we're having trouble figuring out who we are, and what avenue, what revenue stream should we be taking. And she said, Julie, you're doing the right thing in Maine, and as a small business, you have to take advantage of all those revenue streams. And that made me feel really good, because I sort of felt lost before, like we weren't doing the right thing and we were supposed to be doing more of something else. And I kind of like to have my hands in a bunch of different things and multitask. And so that was a perfect answer for me, that we're supposed to be doing all of it, I guess.
That's cool. That's cool. It's funny. I view your shop in Booth Bay. I feel like there's like a secret door that I don't know about, and it's like a little Willy Wonka, chocolate factory. And I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
open the secret door, and you're gonna have this team of Oompa Loompas working for you that are churning up these like crazy, popcorn flavors. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
reindeer poop. Like, where do you come up with that?
We just try to think of fun things that people will like. I try to a lot of times think, what would I be looking for if I went in a store and I was buying a gift for somebody, or what would attract me to it? I mean, am I attracted to reindeer poop? Apparently, because it's magical and it's mint chocolate cookie and it's good. And I think how fun it is for Santa to find those treats and be able to spread the popcorn love with them. So,
Have you ever had like, all right, let me ask you this, like a crazy flavor that
mhm,
hasn't come to fruition, that like hasn't come to market? Like what's
mhm.
or maybe something that you tried that was like maybe not. Like, what's a fringe thing?
It was a beer flavor, and it was made with a flavoring from a flavor company that we work with, and it was a savory, so it was a powder, and all it did was taste like stale beer. Um, but several years later, we did partner with our friends next door at Footbridge Brewery and used some of their actual beer and made some beer popcorn, and it was really good. But I would say the savory version of beer popcorn.
Okay, all right. Well, I
Mhm.
mean, it makes sense, right? It kind of
Mhm.
does make
Yeah.
sense. You go to a lot of bars and they'll put out a basket of popcorn right
Yep.
on the bar, so why not?
Yeah. Exactly. So that was a flop, but and we've had lots of, as a business, you're always looking for that next big flavor, the flavor that will, Oprah is going to find and she's going to shoot you into the stratosphere. And there's never one thing. I mean, there is with some companies, but for us, it's been our Maine blueberry pancake, which is a mixture of maple, blueberry, and butter. That's our top seller. That was something that we just concocted, and we thought, oh, this sounds fun. And it's proven to be our number one seller. And we joke all the time because we end up with cases of it. And then the next day, the cases are gone. And we're like, oh my gosh, we've got to label and package more pancake. And it just keeps flying out the door. It's fun.
Now I'm harkening back to your comments about Craig Andrews, and working for Harborside. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking, all right, we've got all these like iconic, restaurants here in Booth Bay. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like maybe the next step of Coastal Maine Popcorn is taking some of those iconic dishes. And Craig was kind of known for the cinnamon buns. And you
Mm-hmm.
probably already have a cinnamon bun flavor, I'm gonna guess,
We
but like what
do.
yeah, is that okay?
But you're making me think about something else. So we have our glazed cinnamon bun. It's a salty and sweet kettle corn with white chocolate and cinnamon sugar, and it is incredible. And I feel now you've just sparked this idea. I'm like, maybe we need to have, like Andrew's Harborside cinnamon roll or something, and have a special label on the front of it with Craig's big mug on there.
Yeah, or Fred's hot dogs or something.
I know,
I don't
right?
know. I don't know, whatever, I mean, the possibilities are limitless. But
Yep.
that's so cool. That's what I love about, your product and your business and just your awareness of the community in general. And so Windjammer Days are coming
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
That you're Chamber of Commerce. You're the
Yep.
prez.
I'm the
Yeah.
prez. I think it's only
Yeah.
because nobody else wanted the position.
I think that's how stuff like that tends to go, right?
It totally
Um,
does.
yeah. But so yeah, what are you anticipating for Windjammer Days?
I am definitely a glass half full kind of person, and I'm anticipating really good things. The Friends of Windjammer Days does an incredible job. They truly care about our community, and with the chamber partnering with them, our executive director Lisa works hand in hand on the Windjammer committee with Friends of Windjammers, and the chamber puts on the parade. Um, and it's an incredible event. It's for a small community like ours to be able to put on the amount of events that we do is unbelievable. And I think unless you've been in the throes of it, a lot of people have no idea what it takes to put on events like Windjammer Days and Claw Down and Fishing for Fashion or the Street Parade or Booth Bay Lights, and what that really entails to put those on. And really, the a pretty small core group of people are the ones responsible for the really heavy lifting, and it's pretty awesome.
That's cool. Yeah. No, this is loosely related, but I had my friend Mike Tomaselli on a
Yep.
couple days ago, and Mike and I have kind of a debaucherous past, but we threw a lot of house parties
Okay.
together. And I don't think I articulated this the best on that episode, but what I wanted to kind of say was like, all right, we were always kind of like the curators of the house party, but I feel like that was like training for me in a way to put on other events later in life. Like, I feel like maybe I wouldn't have been able to put on a successful basketball tournament had
Right.
I not, put the thought and effort into throwing, a good old fashioned house party.
I love
And
it.
yeah, and so to connect the dots, it's like, all right, that's what Windjammer Days is all about. It's a series of events, and when you're in charge or you're on a board, you really just want to make sure the attendees have a good time. And you gotta anticipate that there are going to be problems. Like, not
Mhm.
everything's going to be perfect, but
Right.
like most people don't notice anyway. It's
Mm-mm.
usually the organizers that are
Mhm.
like hypersensitive to all the little details. But as long as people show up and have a smile on their face, which they generally do, uh, it's a good time. And I know, like the Windjammer Committee, I think does such a great job because Windjammer Days for a while there, I want to say like the early 2000s, it
Mhm.
kind of went a little bit,
I think
and they
I
really.
yeah. I was thinking that, and remember, it used to be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The Windjammers came in on Tuesday. Basically the fireworks and the parade were on Wednesday, and then there was some other things going on Thursday. And now it's like a whole week long event.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it has to do a little bit. We used to have like Fisherman's Festival, which
Hmm.
was separate, but we've done a nice job of like incorporating some of those
Hmm.
traditions that what we do here in Booth Bay. Like you've got crate running, we've got your codfish relay. There's
Hmm.
a lot of activity going on. So it's a
Hmm.
fun week. I mean, if there's ever a time to visit Booth Bay Harbor, it's Windjammer Days.
It really is, and it's great because the weather's beautiful, the stores are all open. I don't know, it's just I love one of my favorite things being a native and growing up here my whole life is the spring into summer season and just getting outside, walking around town, going to one of the local coffee shops and getting a cup of coffee and on a Sunday morning with our dog and sitting on the footbridge and just we live in such an incredible place. So I encourage everybody if you live here, don't take it for granted, like, or don't take advantage of it really, or take advantage of it and get out and play tourist on the weekend, get on the trolley, um, and really forget that you live here for a minute and just enjoy all the great things. A lot of people will, well, I don't ever come into town because there's nowhere to park and I can't get anywhere. And if you circle around a few times, you can pay a couple bucks to park for an hour. Um, which is also controversial, but just come into town and enjoy all the really cool things we have to offer.
Totally, couldn't agree more. So,
Yeah.
I want to transition. This is a podcast, kind of just about exploring like friendship and relationships with people. And
Hmm.
I know that this past weekend you saw Darius Rucker.
I
Is that
did.
right?
That
Yeah.
is so right.
All right. Tell me about that. Tell me about Hootie. What's he up
Uh,
to?
so it was incredible. Way out of I won't say my comfort zone because I wasn't afraid to go there, but I go to work, I go home, I have dinner, I put my jammies on, and I climb in bed usually at 6:30 or 7, and I'll watch some Netflix or scroll my phone or whatever. But so one of my best friends who lives in Lisbon, she said, I have tickets to Hootie on the 13th. Do you want to go? Or to Darius? And I thought about it because I was scared for a minute and thought, my gosh, I'm going to be up late. I'm not going to be able to crawl in bed at 7 o'clock at night. And then I said, screw it. And I texted her, I said, okay, Thelma, Louise is ready. Let's roll. And so we took off, and Darius Rucker is 60 years old and he is incredible. He sounds exactly like he does on the radio. He was entertaining. He, I feel like, is a good human. He cares about people. He had a song about therapy and how incredible therapy is. And, and just with things going on in our world, don't give up and keep doing good things. And it was just a great experience. And I didn't go to bed until 1 o'clock in the morning. And I woke up yesterday with a Hootie hangover. And my best friend that I went with actually texted me this morning and she said, good morning, back to work today. She said, are you okay? You were a little quiet yesterday. And I told her, I said, I don't do good with a change in bedtime routine. So, but yes, I'm great. So it was awesome. So much fun.
That's cool. Where was the show?
It was at the Bank, New Hampshire Pavilion in Guilford, New Hampshire, and it was an unbelievable venue. My coworker Katie had told me about it and said how great it was, and I think the venue holds about 9,000 people. It's outdoors. And everything is meticulous with how they organize. They get people in, they get people out. It's clean, it's friendly. I can't say enough. If it's like the glamping of camping for concerts. It was great. And I was afraid that I was going to be stuck in some pit somewhere at 53 years old and I was going to have to stand up and dance around the whole time. And I was very happy to report that I could stand up during the songs that I could sing and wanted to jam to, and then I could sit down and enjoy the rest of the show when I didn't have to.
I don't think you're giving yourself enough credit. You could, I could see Julie Roberts in a pit in the right situation.
If you give me a fun song that I really love and I know the words to, and there isn't anybody around that I really know, many people, you know what? My volume is up high in my car, and if you pass me in my car, you'll see me belting all the time.
So when did you went to Booth Bay, right? Like, and
Yep.
what year did you graduate?
1991.
91. Okay.
Yep.
So that's like, wow. I'm just trying to think of like what kind of
What do you
music was
mean?
going
Wow,
on.
like 100
No,
years
no,
ago?
no. I mean, I was alive in 1991, and I
Yeah, you
try
were.
to think of like what was popular around that time. And I mean, wow, is like what a time to be alive for a
Mm-hmm.
17, 18-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
Because so you must have been in that era of like you did the New Kids on the Block thing. You
Mm-hmm.
did like that was all going on, and then kind of like grunge was just starting to happen around then.
I feel like I was sort of all over the board. I was a huge Culture Club lover. I was a huge Duran Duran lover, but like a little Whitesnake and Metallica in very small doses. But we had MTV, and to be able to have the videos to go along with the songs, I don't even know. Do they still even have that anymore? I know they don't have like MTV, but do they still have music videos that go along with the songs? I don't even know.
Yeah, they exist on YouTube, but it's not the way it was. It's not, you're right. It was such a part of our DNA, like growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember, so when I was in high school, we had the teen center, right
Mm-hmm.
next to the Y. Now it's
Mm-hmm.
the next building. I'm not really sure what goes on there.
Right.
But the teen center was so cool because I don't know if you ever saw like Saved by the Bell, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so Saved by the
Mm-hmm.
Bell after school, the kids would all go to the Max and
Mm-hmm.
hang out. And so after school, we would all go to the teen center and hang out.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that experience was Total Request Live. So
Oh my gosh.
TRL, you know, and like we would all be like huddled around the TV, like just dying to see like what the top 10 videos were.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just like, it's not something that happens today. Like there is no top 10 video.
I mean, I would listen to Casey Kasem. This is so fun because all of these things that I never remember are totally flashing back into my brain. Like on Saturday, Casey Kasem would have the top 100 or the top 10, or I guess it was the top 10. And we literally would have like our little boom box in our room, and you'd want to record it. So you'd put a cassette tape in and you'd have to hit like play and record at the same time. And yeah, like it's just so different. So different.
Yeah, everyone, consumes their stuff through streaming, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But even in smaller increments than that, like I do wonder about attention spans with like, TikTok and Instagram and,
Mm-hmm.
everyone's attention span is so short now. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, even like some of the bands you're talking about, like Metallica, right? Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
I associate Julie Roberts with Metallica. Um,
Now you
but
will.
they have these like, I'm not like a huge Metallica fan,
Mm-hmm.
but their songs are pretty epic, right? And I wonder if like people now, like young people now, would have the attention span to like
Mhm.
really get into it and digest it. You know,
I
I don't know.
I feel like too, like this is also just coming to me. We had, because we didn't have phones, we were out with our friends. You really associated a song with an event or something that you were doing or spending time with a friend. There's that association, um, you know, of that the song goes with something. And I don't know if that's necessarily true anymore. Um, and as far as the instant gratification of scrolling, I think it's burned out all our dopamine. You know, I think personally, like I'm a huge phone person and I might tell somebody I'm working, but like at home, if my husband's annoyed because I'm on my phone, I'm like, oh, I'm over here working. But it's that instant gratification that's I think burned out our brain cells.
Yeah, yeah, I know. And I don't know. I think like this is just gonna keep going on and on and on and on and on. And like probably as like bad as we think it is now, it's probably only gonna get worse. I don't know. I know when I was like, a kid, it was like video games were the devil,
Mhm.
but then now I think like and this is interesting, you alluded to this with Darius Rucker and him like having a song about therapy, like video games are actually considered therapeutic for
Mhm.
some kids because there is
Mhm.
a level of like creativity that they
Yep.
can engage in that's more expansive
Mhm.
than the instant gratification clicking that we just talked about.
Well,
I don't know. It's just
and think about like esports, right? Um,
yep.
Kids in high school on esports teams. Not every human being is meant to be on a physical sports team like football or baseball or basketball. Sorry, but they're not.
No,
And
no, you're fine.
no, but it's to give everybody an outlet, and those kids who are on the esports teams, they have their friends, they have their clique, and their brains just work differently.
Yeah. Let me ask you about this. So the other thing I want to I love movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I started this movie club in Bruce
Mm-hmm.
Bay last September where we're showing like free monthly movies. And I'm
Right.
going to pick it up again in the fall. And part of why I wanted to do that was, I mean, purely selfish reasons. Like it gives me an opportunity to see movies on the big screen that
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen before and experienced in that way.
Mm-hmm.
But people come in and we have the experience, and then we've got like film scorecards. We rate the movie. We have an open mic discussion. It's
Mm-hmm.
a time where people put away their phones and experience something together, which I think
Mm-hmm.
is like just kind of a
Yeah.
lost art, so to speak. But movies for you, Julie, like what are some of your favorite films?
So my favorite movie of all time might be 50 First Dates.
Okay.
I am not a huge movie buff because I about 15, 20 minutes in, I'm generally asleep. Literally.
You're like
But
my sister. That's like my sister right there.
your sister and I would nap very well together during a movie.
Yep.
Um, but I loved like Goonies and all those older films that we grew up on, and like you said, it was so different. We had to, you had to watch. You couldn't fast forward through anything there. I think about now, most of us pay extra for our Netflix so we don't have to sit and watch commercials, and we binge watch a series instead of having to wait until the next Friday night for it to come out. We can blow through a whole season in a couple of nights sitting. So, but the movies probably Bette Midler. What was the movie? What was the movie I loved with Bette Midler? I can't even remember, but her best friend died.
Oh,
Um,
just the sad one. Is that
Yes.
yeah, oh, is it like
Oh,
beaches or something?
yes.
Or
Way to
is that what it
go.
is?
Wind beneath my wings.
Yeah. Oh man. The sad
Um,
stuff.
I know.
Um
Love me
my
some
favorite
Whitney. I loved some Whitney Houston in The Bodyguard.
okay. That
Now
was
I'm
so
into
yeah.
now I'm into Yellowstone and Dutton Ranch and Landman and Virgin River. Those are my things now.
Aren't those all kind of related? Like aren't those like or Dutton Ranch is definitely a Yellowstone
Yeah,
spinoff.
spinoff.
I don't okay, I don't know what Landman, what's that?
So Landman is they're all written and produced by Taylor Sheridan, and I didn't know anything about him. So Paul had started watching Landman, and he has Billy Bob Thornton and a bunch of other great people, Sam Elliott. And Paul was telling me I don't watch a lot of TV because it just doesn't interest me and I get bored. And apparently I need the instant gratification of scrolling. And he had gotten through almost the first season of Landman, and he kept telling me, "You got to watch this with me." And I said, "I have zero interest in Billy Bob Thornton. Like, he and his ex-wife carried vials of blood. I don't have any need to see that." So I thought I would pacify him one night, and I sat on the couch and we watched the first episode of Landman, and I looked at him and I'm like, "Can we watch another one?" And I was completely hooked, and I was devastated when it was over. So then we thought, let's try Yellowstone, another Taylor Sheridan show, and that was incredible. And I don't know, they're just such great legendary actors. And Billy Bob, man, you want him on your team every time. I'm
Billy
totally
Bob
hooked on Billy Bob now.
do you are you familiar with some of his other roles? Like some of
No,
like yeah? Yeah,
I mean,
all
I
right.
know,
Yeah.
but I haven't really seen them, because I always thought I wasn't interested in watching what he was in, but he's great.
He's great in whatever he does. If you want, like, all right, what you should really check out, and it's a little dark, but his best role, in my opinion, is a movie called Sling Blade, and
Yes,
he
I've heard
plays
of that.
yeah, he plays kind of a mentally challenged guy, um, and I haven't seen it in a long time, but it's really good. I mean, it's
Okay,
like it's great acting, and I think
I'm writing it down.
yeah, definitely.
Okay,
That'd be a cool show at Cinema Clubhouse, actually.
okay,
I'll write that down as well. But
okay.
alright, I got I had one oh how's your mom? What's Sue up to?
My mom is good. Sue is well into her 70s now. She actually just picked Olivia up at school. They had early release done. They're doing finals. And I said, "Can you take Olivia to the horse barn?" But Susie Q is great. She is happy to be tucked in her house with her birds and her butterflies, and loves Dutton's doghouse. Was devastated when Duncan left town, and yeah, I think Dutton's is her favorite place in town.
I I mean,
It's hard to go
that's a
wrong
great
with
answer.
Dutton's.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's impossible.
I
I
always
so I
wanted.
think
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, so I think of Sue probably every 2 weeks because that's how often I cut my fingernails. And I remember I had a spell in like the early 2000s where I would bop down to the beauty salon and
To
she would
Aura.
work in there. Aura, yeah. And she'd be downstairs and I would be like, "Hey Sue, like, I can only hang out for like 5 minutes, but you think you can cut my fingernails?" And she would do it. Um,
Seriously?
yeah, yep,
I
yep.
don't think I ever knew that.
Yeah, no, she would do it. I would just like give her like, $5 or something,
That's
and she would just
awesome.
cut my fingernails. It was
Oh
great.
my gosh. I love that. We all need somebody like that in our life, don't we?
Yeah, definitely. Well, my nails are kind of long right now, so I was
Well,
like,
I'll
yeah,
send her over when she's
yeah,
done
yeah.
at
So
when
they're
she's done at the horse barn with Olivia.
perfect. Sounds great.
Mhm.
Um, all right, Julie, I got one final question. I wanted
Okay.
to ask you. Um,
Okay.
so I asked this of all my guests, right? And so,
Yeah.
uh, my grandmother, Barbara, she passed away in 2008. And
Mhm.
so, um, when she had lung cancer, and one of the final conversations I had with her, she was like, my only regret in life is that I never allowed myself to have an ice cream sundae every time that I wanted one.
Okay.
And I just thought that was such a kind of interesting and profound statement because I'm like, here's this woman, she's going to die, and all she
Mhm.
wants is like her ice cream sundae.
Mhm.
So, I've tried to, interpret this in different ways. What is your metaphorical ice cream sundae, Julie? Like, what either you can answer this however you want. It could be what fills you up, but it's also a question of like, what's on your bucket list? What's something in life that you haven't done that you want?
Um, that's so hard because I feel like my greatest thing was to that I wanted was to be the most incredible mom to my girls that I could be. And I feel like I've done that. And I feel like I hope if you ask my kids, I'm pretty sure I think they feel that way. And I live every day for my children and what I can do for them, or more even uh, what I can be for them. Uh, so that probably is almost my most important thing I've ever done, which wasn't actually a question, but it went into it anyway. And then my bucket list, I'm sort of working on that. I feel because I mentally and physically probably invested so much in my family and my kids and my business. At this age, I'm trying, and with Olivia being in high school and starting to have some freedoms, I'm trying to figure out who I am and what my purpose is. Um, but I think just to always be genuine and be kind. I think they're not everybody's going to like us, and that's okay because not everybody knows us. And long term, if I can lay my head on my pillow at night knowing that I've done the best I can do with the most amount of integrity, and I will tell you, cross my heart, hope to die, poke a needle in my eye. I try to do everything I can for the right reason and with integrity. And I agree that you should eat ice cream for dinner or have it whenever you want.
I love it. I think, Julie, I think you're doing it, and I hope you don't put too much pressure on yourself to live up to that every day. I think you do it in spades, and I think that's why I think you're the cheerleader of our region, and that so many people love you and respect you. And I want, I don't know. I think you need a vacation sometimes, right? Like
I
that's what
think,
I think.
first of all, I will tell you how much that means to me to hear somebody like you say that because I have an incredible amount of respect for you. Um, because of who you are in our community and the things that you do and what you've done and how you continue to put yourself out into our community to do good things and fun things like this and the movies and so that means a lot coming from you. So thank you.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm here for. Um,
Mm.
anyways, all right. I don't know. Is there anything else you want to say, plug, preach, whatever you want
I
to say,
think
Julie?
you know what I do want to preach for a second. I want to
Yeah.
preach to people. Um, the world that we live in is really hard right now, and I'm tired of keyboard warriors. I'm tired of people saying things online that they would never say to somebody's face. Um, and having opinions about people when we know nothing about the situation. and judging. That's one thing I tend to judge sometimes when I see people, and I try to remind myself that I don't know their story. I don't know what their day has been like. Um, and to have more grace. I ask God every morning to please give me grace, um, with people, with my community, with people I don't understand or I don't know their story, and to not put too much faith into what you think other people think of you.
I think that's well said. I think that's something I struggle with too. But the one thing that I always kind of remind myself, and it comes back to our attention spans and our
Mm-hmm.
phones. And I guarantee you, if I held my phone up next to even your phone, our algorithms are going to be totally different.
Yep.
And everyone's got their own algorithm. We're all plugged into our own devices.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but those devices are no substitute for conversation. And I
Right.
think what unites all of us is our humanity, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the one underlying thing I think we should all try to take a step back and just have respect for each other and
Mm-hmm.
converse and have a good time, you know? So
Right. And
we
just
only get one
because,
life.
yeah, and just because I don't agree with something that you think is right doesn't make it wrong. Who am I to say what's right or wrong? Um, yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things that bother me, because I don't agree with it doesn't make it wrong.
Sure, perfect,
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah, I agree. You're not wrong. Um,
Tanner, this
uh,
was so this was so much fun.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you had fun. And I just want to take a moment just to thank anyone who's taking the time to hang out with us. I hope you found our conversation, insightful, informative, entertaining. Maybe it was just background noise. That's cool too. However you want to consume it, that's on you. But it will live on YouTube forever. It will be the Julie Roberts episode. It's a keepsake for you. And Julie, I just want to thank you for being a friend.
Thanks, pal. Thank you for being a friend. I appreciate it. I'm so grateful to be your friend.